If you've ever opened Google Ads and seen the warning enhanced conversion needs attention, you're definitely not alone. Or even if you haven't seen it yet, setting this up correctly from the start will save you a lot of headaches down the road. So in this video, I'll show you exactly how to implement enhanced conversions for Google Ads using Next.js and Google Tag Manager. So enhanced conversions is basically Google's way of recovering tracking data that would normally get lost. When someone submits a form, makes a purchase, or converts on your site, Google can securely use first-party customer data, things like email address, phone number, or name, to better connect that conversion back to the original ad click. And all of that data is hashed for privacy. Even when cookies get blocked, users switch devices, or browser privacy settings start interfering with tracking, Google still has a much better chance of attributing the conversion correctly. So why does this warning appear? Most of the time it means Google Ads is expecting enhanced conversion data, but it's not actually receiving it. Usually one of two things is happening. Either your GTM setup isn't sending the customer data correctly, or your website never pushes that data into the data layer in the first place. When a user completes a conversion on your site, like submitting a lead form or making a purchase, your Next.js app needs to fire a data layer event. Inside that event, you include customer information like their email, phone number, first and last name, and any other relevant fields. Then Google Tag Manager picks up that event, reads those values using data layer variables, and sends them into your Google Ads conversion tag as enhanced conversion data. From there, Google hashes the information for privacy and uses it to better match conversions back to ad clicks. Alright. Let's start on the Next.js side first. The goal here is pretty simple. When a conversion happens, we want to push the customer data into the data layer so Google Tag Manager can pick it up later. Usually this happens right after something like a form submission, a lead sign up, or a successful purchase. After your submission logic runs, for example, after you confirm a purchase was successful, you push an object into the data layer variable. Inside that object, you include an event name and the customer data fields Google Ads needs for enhanced conversions. So things like email, phone number, first and last name, and so on. One really important detail here is that your field names need to match exactly with what you configure later inside GTM. So if your data layer sends email in lowercase, but your GTM variable is looking for email with the first letter capitalized, or even user underscore email, it's not gonna work. Stick to lowercase field names, avoid spaces, and keep everything consistent. In an Next.js app, the best place to fire this is usually inside your conversion handler. And that could be a form on submit, a successful API response, a checkout completion callback, or even a use effect that runs after the conversion succeeds. The important part is making sure the customer data actually exists before you push the event, because if those fields are empty or undefined, Google Ads will reject the enhanced conversion data entirely. Alright, now let's move over to Google Tag Manager and wire everything together. The first thing we need are data layer variables. These variables are how GTM reads the customer data coming from your Next.js app. So inside GTM, go to Variables, click New, and choose data layer variable. Then for the data layer variable name, enter the exact field name you used inside your data layer object. And you repeat this for each field you want to send to Google Ads. Now, here's the part that might confuse a lot of people. Inside GTM, you actually need two separate tags. The first tag is the standard Google Ads conversion tracking tag, and this is the tag that records the actual conversion. So we'll create a new tag. In Google Tag Manager, go to Tags, click New, and choose Google Ads conversion tracking. Then enter the conversion ID and conversion label from your Google Ads conversion action. But that tag alone isn't enough for enhanced conversions. You'll also need a second tag, the Google Ads user provided data tag. This second tag is responsible for sending the customer data itself. Inside this tag, you'll map each enhanced conversion field to the data layer variables we created earlier. For example, email, phone, and this next part is extremely important. Both tags need to fire on the exact same event. So if your conversion event is form underscore submission, then both the conversion tracking tag and the user provided data tag should trigger on that same event. That way, Google receives the conversion and the customer data at the exact same moment. Now, before publishing anything, let's make sure it's working correctly. Inside GTM, click Preview to enter debug mode. This opens your site with Tag Assistant connected. Now, go through your form submission flow and trigger the conversion event. Now we head over to Tag Assistant, and on the left side panel, we should see the data layer event. If we click on the user provided data tag, we should see the user provided data in here. However, it's failing to pass that. So we can actually see on the variables, and as you can see, we're getting undefined. And this is actually a great example because if you recall correctly from the Next.js app, we were actually passing the form data object. So what I would need to do is modify my GTM variables to access the nested values here. We just go to each data layer variable and do it like that. So now that we fixed the variables, we can go through the process again and we should see the values being passed correctly. If we head over to GTM, go to the contact form submission data layer event, and then we click to the user provided data tag, we should see all the values being passed in here. Usually Google Ads only requires the email and phone number. If you want to pass more values, that's okay. So we're good on that side. We can also verify on the variables and see that they're all getting passed correctly. Once everything looks good, exit preview mode and publish your GTM container. Now that GTM is configured, there's one last step inside Google Ads itself. Head over to Goals, then Settings, and make sure these three settings are enabled. These settings allow Google Ads to actually accept the enhanced conversion data coming from GTM. And while you're here, also double check that enhanced conversions is enabled for the specific conversion action you're tracking. Because even if your GTM setup is perfect, Google Ads still won't process the customer data unless enhanced conversions is turned on for that conversion action. And that's it. Your Next.js app is now sending enhanced conversion data through Google Tag Manager directly into Google Ads. So whether you were trying to fix this warning or you just wanted a more reliable conversion tracking setup from the start, you now have the full workflow working end to end. And the more accurate your conversion data is, the better Google Ads can optimize your campaigns. So if this video helped you out, make sure to subscribe for more content like this. See you in the next one.